Am I? Oh, am I still here, Alden? Am I still here?
You are here. We are
Okay.
both here.
Sorry. Did you? Hi, we're live.
You were fine.
I was fine.
You were like hit live, and then I saw you blip out and blip back in. Then the music started, and I thought, okay, he's back. But
Okay, good to know. All right, I don't need. We're live. This is Anytime with Ken and Alden. We love having fun every Friday, talking about politics, life, and all those things. I've been having some issues. It's been effing up Force Center recordings, Force Center lives, and now this. The moment, if I'm by myself, if I fired you or you fired me, if I was here by myself, no technical issues. The moment two or more people are in my studio on StreamYard, big sound issues and problems.
maybe this is like StreamYard CEO is part of Doge and doesn't
Maybe.
want us. Like maybe I don't know if that's true or not, but it wouldn't surprise me at all.
So the moment I go live, suddenly I heard, and I
that I didn't hear at all. So that
you
definitely
didn't hear
is-
that.
That is a solo issue, indeed.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Strange. JMB says Ken's blip only lasted 2 seconds. Well, as opposed to the Avengers getting blipped for 5 years, I would say that's pretty good.
Is that what it was?
So, yeah, they were
5
gone
years.
for 5 years, Ken. In Avengers
Wow.
Endgame, Ken. Where
I
the
did see
internet
that.
told me it got bad after that.
That's what I heard that too.
The internet said that. And that's weird.
Yeah, you know what? Cam Stewart says the sound of a million voices crying out in terror. You know what I felt like? I felt like Adria Arjona in Andor. I was like,
Oh, with the being
did you like that acting?
tortured with the sounds of a genocided people. You know, one
Here,
of
I'll
the
do it.
lighter ideas.
I'll do it with my prop cigarette.
That's what she should have done. She should have lit up.
Acted.
Tony Gilroy should be the first person to depict a death stick smoker on screen because we've only ever heard about them. We've never seen it. There should be somebody chain smoking death sticks.
It should be Krennic. Talking's gonna
Yeah,
come take it. Talking's gonna come take it. I know it.
it's
All
true.
right.
These are
All
my death sticks. Anyway, hello.
Hello. A lot to get to today in about a 90-minute time frame. I forgot to tell you that I got errands and Force Center live today at 2. Jump on over to that at 2:00. We're gonna have fun. So a lot to get to, Alden. What were we talking right before the show? We were like, let's bring this up on air, and I can't remember.
It was because so we started with our how are yous, and we did a little bit of off air. It's been a really weird week for me. I'll say bad mental health week, bad personal week. But I was telling you, great pop cultural week, and we started talking about Severance, which you haven't seen, so it wasn't a spoiler conversation. But I said, man, Ben Stiller. And then we started talking about Ben Stiller, and I asked you, doing comedy in the 2000s and being at Groundlings and knowing a lot of these folks in comedy, did anyone care about the Nepo babies of comedy? And you were telling me, not really.
No, not really. Overall, it wasn't a conversation we had. It doesn't mean it's long been a thing, and I definitely rub up against it now, because it's not just on screen; it's behind the screen, behind off screen, where you run into a lot, where a lot of producer writers are 23 coming out of their paid interns. I was eavesdropping. I had lunch last week with our pal Dorina at Casa Vega. Shout out to that film location. And a table over was 2 wonderful women, looked like mid-50s, beautiful, talented, successful women, without a doubt. And one of them was talking about her kid, and she's like, well, he just got off that 3-year paid internship at Saturday Night Live, and now he's putting together a pilot that the studios really like it. And I'm like, I was going to take my enchilada and just fling it at him. Like, God damn it. But that's just kind of the way. But back then, with like Ben Stiller, it was cool. Like, oh, he's Jerry Stiller and Mary. Actually, it was more like they're the parents of Ben Stiller, these comedy legends. And it was excitement. It was fun. Doesn't mean that was right. Just means that was perception.
Yeah, and I think comedy obviously has a couple of those. I mean, you have the Wayans family, which runs very deep, where like 9 or 10 of them have individual careers, and they pair up on things. And like, yeah, I mean, we're wrestling guys. We have the Hearts. We have the the Hearts and the Rhodeses, and then there's a lot. Yeah,
Right.
a cool family can be cool, just in general. We're seeing that right now in music a little bit, and some lighter entertainment news from the last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago. We know that Paul Stanley's son and Gene Simmons' son have worked on 10 songs together and are going to be putting out
I didn't know
an album. Yeah, because they did a cover of Sound of
didn't know
Silence on Instagram just for fun.
Okay.
And it was really
Okay.
good. And everybody was like, wow, you guys sound great together.
Uh-huh,
And then
uh-huh.
they posted, we couldn't stop. And now we have 10 songs and it might be a thing.
I think it's great. I haven't heard the music. I think that's great. Like I've always said, like Sean Lennon, Julian Lennon, Danny Harrison, Zach Starkey. They could have formed a band. James McCartney. It could have been great, but we wouldn't have let it. Like we would have just been so obsessed with their parents.
Sure.
It's not their fault. And they was it Sean Lennon and James McCartney? I think just worked on a couple songs, Primrose Hill and stuff. They're great, beautiful little pop songs.
Song last week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways.
so that or last year, rather. Yeah, no, I think it's cool. I think it's fun. I mean, I have no ill will toward nepo babies. My issue is like the people that are like born on third, act like they hit a triple and don't acknowledge it.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's the acting like it. Like Maya Hawke, had the best answer to this, where she said, "I am comfortable not deserving things and doing them anyway," which I thought was such an honest and just chill. Appropriate for who her parents are, a very cool answer.
Look, man, and it is what it is. Like I'm a big fan of the band Inhaler. Elijah Houston's the lead singer. His dad happens to be Paul Houston, aka Bono.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do about it?
His daughter,
what can I do about it?
Great actress now.
Great actors, yeah.
Gracie Abrams, one of the biggest pop stars in the world right now. Very quickly. Yeah. It's a shame her father killed Star Wars. Anyway.
But one of the things Jack Quaid. Well, I told you I remember when he was a little kid because I did improv at the Groundlings with Buddy Quaid, his uncle.
Wow.
One of the things, because you had jokingly said you're like Severance, Ben Stiller, who knew? And I was like, I did. Ben was like one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Director of Cable guy, his work in Flirting with Disaster, his Ben Stiller show. Like he was a director in the early days. His little short stint on SNL, he was like too good for SNL in a way. Like I don't mean that he thought that. He just was like, I can't do what I want to do. If the digital shorts had been going for the last 15, 20 years now, he could have been that.
He sort of, he did. He called that in advance, almost like accidentally, like, oh, I thought I would be able to produce a whole little thing and then just give it to you. And like, it's like that was not the thing at the time. But yeah, extremely, extremely fun to think about Severance. I don't want any spoilers in the comments. It's one of those things where it's like, I think anyone that likes good storytelling would really like it. It's becoming sort of like it's becoming lost, appropriately, because it's a mystery sci-fi, but like there is a little bit of I don't want to do how are you not watching this? Because there's just too much. But there's too much. Phenomenal. I know you
finished Hacks. That's
on Hacks.
Yeah.
Which is huge because you binged those 3 seasons fairly quickly, which I know you're on the record saying people underestimate your binge ability because you have done that before with like Gilmore Girls.
Yeah. I dug in my heels on Gilmore Girls. I did that in like 6 weeks. 7 seasons plus the movie on Netflix in just like 6-7 weeks. Battlestar Galactica, when I finally got into that. I did that. And it was good. Hacks was great. I enjoyed it. I thought it got bigger and broader in terms of its comedy swings, a lot of situational stuff. Let's put them hiking and they get stranded that I didn't necessarily love as the show got on, but the characters stay, like the intimacy of their performances and their connection stayed to the end. Looking forward to season 4. And then I ended up trying to I haven't finished yet the Hannah Einbinder's latest special. I watched that because I just was like, I want more Hacks. I want more Hacks.
Yeah, for sure. And she's so that character. But also there are the differences between her, which are fun to see. And we're texting about that. Good comedy special time just in general over the last year.
I just finished Burr's latest Drop Dead Year. Have you seen that yet?
I haven't watched it yet. No.
Okay. Watch it. I have so many. I loved it. I was uneven at times. And you're just gonna have to, if you buy the Burr ticket, you're gonna have to accept that there's gonna be some things done and said that you're like, right? It's just kind of it's part of the thing. Different conversation maybe. I love what he did in it, man. He hit on some big things that he's going on and learning about himself and saying that I thought are packaged it well for this world. Unfortunately, this world we're in, and I really enjoyed what he did as he changes and grows while still being himself. So anyways, maybe we'll come back to that when you watch it.
For sure, yeah. It's definitely going to get done this weekend. Looking here at the comments. Mick Giacchino, great call. Incredible scores for Penguin and from Skeleton Crew the last couple of months. Patrick Schwarzenegger, I hear people really like him in that and the new season. I haven't seen that. Molly with a fun comment that I hated Jack Quaid so much a companion, where I haven't seen it yet, but I understand that he's a shithead in it. Having a hard time wanting to see him in anything else. I will say
It's funny.
he's fantastic as a voice actor. That's where I know him more from, because he's the lead of Star Trek Lower Decks, and he also voices a Superman in a recent series. So he's doing great work there. So yeah, this has been our Nepo baby opening for for this week's show, which was not planned. How are you though?
I'm okay, man. I'm okay. The world is the world, and I've had a lot of I'm in a weird spot with all of it. I don't even know if it's on-air discussion, quite frankly, but it's just like as we all kind of get overwhelmed by the news every day. How do you deal? I'm in a spot of I am pulling back again from social media because I get tired of logging on to it, and just there's a lot of did you see? And I'm like, we all see. Yeah. What are we gonna do? What can we do? And I need to go play Fortnite. Like I'm just in this weird, and it's not. I don't know what to do with it. So that's the world. Everything else is okay, buddy. Everything else is okay. Just slugging through, trying to figure out life.
What is Chuck Schumer's plan to give Mandalorian and Grogu a better title? What is the?
It doesn't need a title. But see, that's a weird situation. I think it's time for him to go. Like quick conversation said on that. I think it's time for him to go. But his actions saved my friend and his house and his kids, and my friend doesn't know what to do with that. I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah,
and that's kind of, and it also saved some funding for research. Like it's we're in this horrible. We're the battle of the bastards. I feel like we're all Jon Snow, and you're just surrounded by tough and bad choices on every side.
For sure. No, we're just constant suffocation. And to your point, like I understand probably more than anybody. I understand like the constant, like if I'm not plugged in, it's bad. If I am plugged in, it's bad.
Yeah.
You just have to listen to yourself. I mean, everybody has like their limit. I try to make it a point to like not text my friends like specific news links. Like we'll have like broader conversations or just like about the just in general. But like if we're trying to hit on every story, like that's just not feasible. Like there's too much at once.
Yeah. And I'm not saying from like a cynical, like what can we? I just like it. Yeah, you're right. To each their own, or you test at your own boundaries. And it's not that I don't want to hear these stories, but I'm looking at them every day too, and that's kind of where I'm. I mean, look, I've been holding this prop cigarette for 3 or 4 weeks because I pulled it out for this voice acting thing I'm doing, and it calms me down because we're all in that state right now. We're just like, okay, I need to pretend to have a ciggy.
You know what else it is?
It's like every day.
You know what else it is about the prop cigarette is that I think subconsciously you are registering what I have very consciously registered, which is that smoking is back, baby. It's back.
Smoking is back, baby.
It's back. It's back. I'm not saying it's good that it's back. And I think I've said this before on the show, but it's like I was trying to explain it the other day to a family member where I'm like, my generation, more so than anyone, because of when we were around, like we got the full extent of the "this is bad for you" campaign. And it's true.
Yeah.
It's not like it was bullshit propaganda. Like it was true. Yeah. And they almost eradicated it. Like I feel like they almost had it. And then a plethora of really cool and sexy people all started smoking again at the same time. Whether that's my girl Dua Lipa or the cast of The Bear or whoever else. Her and Charlie XCX are these just British pop stars smoking them up. Like
Gaga does too every once in a while. Yeah.
Yeah, it's undoing all of the work, man.
Yeah.
It's undoing all of it.
That's a fascinating, maybe we dive into that as it emerges. Not we have other things to get to today. I love this because I am of the era, and I know there's some in our audience that do remember the smoking, non-smoking sections. And you can't unlive that. It's so palpable, like the cigarette smoking at Denny's. Like And so I wouldn't want that to come back, but I also at the same time kind of get it, where it's like I remember Jenna Ortega got in trouble. There was like a TMZ of like her in a corner, like and I'm like, yeah, it's a thing, man.
It's a thing. It's just aesthetically pleasing and all that
could
stuff.
You please alert the authorities, Alden? Molly Damon's pushing. She's pushing on me here. I can't recommend gummies enough. Okay.
I can't recommend Cymbalta.
Be careful. Yeah, be careful the next knock at your door, Damon.
Yeah. We're going to deport Molly back to where are white women from? where the Caucasus Mountains. So
New Hampshire.
We're here. We're already bullshitting, which kind of fits the tone of what we came up with this week.
Yes.
Ken, are you ready for a dive into a very modern and immature realm?
Yes. I love a little pudgy little JD meme going around.
JD Vance. So
garbage pail kid, cabbage patch kid Vance.
The way that this started was because I texted you at like 2 a.m. my time and was like, I think I have an angle for this.
Thank you.
And that came from just me having a terrible week, but then also and wanting to laugh a little bit, but thinking there's so much to cover. And we took last week off, and it was like, we're not going to do like catch up. We can't hit all these stories, but what is very of the moment and what has been consistent and can bleed into all these stories, it is the one consistent emotional response that has been happening throughout the internet age, which was let's just shit on this thing. Let's make fun of it. Let's be bullies. Let's have a laugh. Let's Photoshop. And it has truly carried, especially for people, I'm 29, so for people in my age group, this has been like a secondary language of memes. Memes are as images, text memes as copy and pastes, or when does a meme cross over into a bit? And you being a comedian and you having this experience, I'm especially curious what your opinions are going to be. So I would like to start with a question to you, which is something that I've thought about a lot, especially as I've been like listening to a lot of comedy interviews this year, or like Lorne Michaels' biography or whatever. Sometimes comedians will touch on this, and I want to know what you think. When the normies start doing their bits, or when when non-comedians have a bit or a gimmick, or when friend groups that you have are sending these memes, like as a comedian, do you look at the fact that it's been democratized and that everybody's kind of trying to do a shtick as an issue? Or does it make it difficult to separate the pros?
Anakin, you can't stop the change. This is the worst Pernilla August ever. Yeah, I have it. Yeah, you know what? I'm reacting to that weirdly because I can't stop it. I enjoy a lot of it. I remember when memes, as I probably called them, first came on the scene, Willy Wonka, stuff like that. Like, I was upset at them in the sense of, like, you can't boil down a big complex point to one picture of Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka. Yet that's kind of where we are. And that's also kind of what works. I do have, I just was grumpy about this the other day. The art of sketch comedy has died as people have made millions off of doing it for 30 seconds to 60 seconds on social media, which good for them. There's many that I see where I'm like, you have mastered this art form. It's so bottom barrel hack. If I was to do that premise, not the sketch, if I was to do the premise,
sure.
I saw one the other day of like, this is what I feel like passing through first class to get to coach. And it like suddenly clicks and he's like a homeless man begging for food and people are throwing food at him. I'm like, horrible premise. You would be faced with a dead audience in a live comedy club, millions of views. So good for him. Good for them who put that out. But I don't like the democratization of comedy sometimes, but you can't stop it, Alden. And to what we're talking about today, when it takes over, it's therapeutic. It's cathartic. The meme stuff with Vance is helped a lot of friends of mine.
Yeah. And I guess like, the example that sticks out in my mind was a story that Lorne Michaels tells where he was like, I was on a boat in the early 80s, and there was a guy on the boat who was a normie, and he was talking like Bill Murray. And he's like, and the whole time he was talking like Bill Murray, the only thing I could think was, I know Bill. And it's like, it's bleeding out, and like people are like passing it off as their own, or they're trying to be that guy in their normal settings. And memes have created like this culture that we're going to discuss of like the meme makers are sort of like the comic minstrels of the internet town square. Like they are out there sort of contributing in that way. And for the first time today, well, not the first time, but for the first time in a long time today, I have brought some visual aids to the show.
Oh, I love this. Is it a Ben Affleck photo? Okay.
And it's not Ben Affleck, although Ben Affleck is a meme.
Is a meme.
which we use on
I enjoyed
in the early incarnation.
Yeah.
I apologize to the podcast listeners, but I will give credit to Scotty J. from the Bombad cast who sent me this slideshow and was like, you should use this. Actually, what he said was, his exact words were, I hate to ever tell you what to do, which is very, very smart, because if there's one thing that I respond to poorly, it's people telling me what to do. But he knew. So what we have here are the meme eras, and it's almost impressive. It is legitimately impressive to see how well broken down it is. So Ken, if you will join me, check out this first one here. We have our first 2 eras here. Now, if you look at
this is such a teacher. A teacher put this together.
Isn't it fantastic?
A teacher put this together.
We have the experimental era from 95 to 05, and then the golden age from 06 to 09.
Kelly shoes. I know Liam who did Kelly shoes. That's amazing. That's so. Oh wow. It's fascinating.
So some memories here immediately, right? Like the early era, the first one is like full of stuff that is just like, clearly we just didn't know what the fuck to do with the internet at the time.
Yeah.
We just did not know. But the golden age, that's when, like, okay, forms are starting to emerge. Characters like Keyboard Cat or the Troll Face, like, things are starting to catch on as bits we all know. Right. And that's something that previous to that, only television, like SNL, like Mad, like Seinfeld, like iconic comedy arts had already been able to achieve that. That 06 to 09 is when the internet achieved that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so I'm curious, looking at these first 2, what stands out to you? Were you on MySpace sending these around to
no, by no surprise to perhaps anyone. Born curmudgeonly, I didn't participate in any of these in terms of passing them around, but I did get them or enjoy them. Like, it's peanut butter jelly time. Lightsaber Kid, I wrote about him in Why We Love Star Wars. His life nearly ruined by that, and I think there's lessons we learned later on, but at the time, like, hell, Arrested Development did that one. That was one of the first times I remember seeing it move onto the broadcast TV. So it's a weird era, because I was very much active in that. My Friendster and MySpace accounts were active then, but I didn't participate. But the second go around, this is when my world started to open up. Like I said, I mentioned She's. Oh my God, She's. And later on, got to know and work with Liam. Knew the Britney kid, but it was still a destructive era to me. Like, it was still, we didn't know what to do with our power.
For sure. And it was also when it crossed over, I think, also, especially with like Keyboard Cat, into like, there are things that became sort of not quite yet Hope Core, because Hope Core is very specific. Like Hope Core is like videos that go viral of like a soldier reuniting with his family. Like that's Hope Core.
Oh, okay.
So like Keyboard Cat kind of was an early look at like Warm and Fuzzy, sort of like this one is not really like funny in and of itself, but like it makes everyone feel happy. Yeah, and Rick Rolling is there, of course.
Rick Rolling, yeah, and then the guy right above Kelly, Liam's character Kelly is the dance guy. God, I remember that. Where's my favorite? I sing it to in the house. Poor Grace and the dogs have to hear it. I always do what in the butt. Is that around?
Yeah, I don't know if it's in these, but yeah, that's one. So let's move on. Because
on that note, you want to move on?
Well, what in the butt?
What in the butt?
On the note of what in the butt, we will now move on to the next era. On the second slide, we have here the Renaissance and the Surreal eras. Okay. Now that 2010 to 14 is essential because 2010 to 2014 are the years that Alden Diaz went to high school.
You're part of this. You're part of the meme army.
That is the exact era. So you have Boromir with, I love we both went to Boromir first.
Yeah.
Boromir. This is when the characters were solidified.
Yes.
Boromir.
That damn Wonka one.
Bad Luck Brian. Condescending Wonka. Sad Peter Parker. Scumbag with the hat. You also have like Bad Joke Eel, Sipping Kermit. Like that was when there was, there was an avatar for every feeling.
Yes.
And that, I think that changed the game because that gave us the language, right? It gave us the language to do what we're building to. And I think that, let me look at some comments here. Let's hold on real quick. Let's
Molly's David's so right. So many great reaction gifs from this Renaissance era. Excuse me, gifs, because we called them gifs then, right? It's so true. I still think I have to. I'm such an old man. I still think of some of those. I'm like, oh, I should send the Fry meme. Oh wait, no, that's probably 15 years old.
Yeah, no, it's for sure. I'm loving all the comments. Leave Brittany alone. Matty Gunner just says, "Remember when life was good?" Matty, we're not there yet, man. We're not there. We're not time for a breakdown yet. Oh, Svetnik, do you remember Salad Fingers? Yes, I do.
I don't remember that one. What is that one? Maybe I do.
Salad Fingers is like a weird, surreal video. It's really creepy.
I think, but what's weird is like you all know them better by me in terms of names. I'm of that. I was so kind of still pulled back from it because in 2010s when I started hanging out with a lot of the crew that would go on to be like Critical Role and everything, speaking of zeitgeist and stuff, and that whole group opened me up to this stuff because in the security world ain't nobody sending this stuff.
No
one was sending this stuff.
You were not sipping Kermit in the security chat.
No, I didn't send my shift lieutenant, hey, here you go, here's but then I got to hang out with that nerd crew. And suddenly they had Brittany Wallach one time had for her birthday had a meme party. I went dressed up as It's Still Real to Me guy. And there's some great photos of that era. It was impressive. It was like, these are professional cosplayers doing the internet meme stuff. And that was like 2015 and we were already looking back.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause that was a perfect segue. Cause at that time we transitioned into the surreal era. And this is when it is now full scenes, like the guy looking away from his girl at another girl. You got Shia LaBeouf telling your dreams don't have to be dreams. Just do it. You have the whole lore around Shrek that has been built up online. You have Salt Bae and the whole culture around Salt Bae and everyone imitating him. Like this is like the surreal meme era. Also, to me, could be called the zeitgeist era. Because I mean, look at you have like What Color Is the Dress, right? Like that's not even comedy.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. This is where it starts to get into that, where like we're no longer just using these things as reactions or to prove points. Like the dress thing becomes a worldwide debate. There's a new power behind all this.
This is the period of time in which like we're able to say, oh, we like even in a joking way, like, oh, you see the dress as blue and black, like you idiot, like we're becoming tribalist in a funny way until it's no longer funny, until it hurts, until it is no longer effective, and then finally we have the era that we're in now, the modern era of memes, where it's a lot of breaking situations down, like the clown makeup, it's a lot of like specifically about how I'm engaging with an idea. Peter Parker taking off his glasses, putting them on. The editing of different things situationally, memes evolving. Lots of like it's a little bit bitier, it's a little bit meaner, it's a little bit more like trying to convey how you feel about an idea.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation. In truth, it is the clown one come to mind, or the buttons. Which one you press? Like these seem like argumentative or declarative. This is how I feel on this situation.
Yes,
and that's a change.
Yes. So all that to say, thank you for coming to Meme History with Ken and Alden. This build up to this moment, I think, is important because as we've arrived now at these declaratives and all these things, we've realized in conjunction with things like in conjunction is proper English, I guess, with things like Waltz calling them weird, or Jasmine Crockett telling Elon fuck off, like little things like that are bitey and viral and people latch on to. It's that we want some fire, we want some spirit, we want some cleverness, and laughter, of course, as you well know as a comedian and just in general of a lover of the arts, how important it is, how it always sort of finds us, how it's endured through every era, even when they wanted to arrest Carlin for indecency, all the way to now. There has been this constant state of it, and as it's been democratized, now it's our comics. We talked about Burr and Hannah Einbinder and Sandler and whoever else, that every time a new special comes, or like Mulaney's new late night show, which I've been loving, like you're looking at them, but also when they're off the clock, when there is no Burr show, when there is nothing, we can create it with each other. And that, something has emerged. And that is something controversial. And this is not necessarily the stance of ANYTIME. I don't want anyone to leave what I'm about to say and go practice it in the world. Don't tell your kids this, guys. Bullying works, y'all. Bullying works. Don't clip this out. I know someone's going to.
You're an asshole.
Bullying absolutely works. I mean, like, if you can immediately, and we've seen in light ways, like, like when your friend misspeaks and says the wrong word, and you remind them about it for the next 10 years. Like there's that, but then also, like, look at how we've been able to absolutely rattle people, like the aforementioned Vice President Cuck, with things like you're a couch fucker. Completely unsubstantiated, complete fiction. But just in doing that, it had a greater effect than any single policy point that was delivered by the Kamala campaign. By far.
This is not the official. I don't know. We're dancing in waters here. Here's the thing. I agree with you. One of the reasons I agree with you because it is so destructive historically, right? That's one of the, and I say this I tell the story to earn my nerd cred, but like I was beat up for wearing a Return the Jedi shirt to school, and choked by a kid named Joe, and called a nerd, and that carried on through life. So there's a serious side that I know you're acknowledging too, but
sure.
But that's why it works, because it's destructive, right? That's the danger of it. And then to take it to where you are now, like I'm not going to sit there. I'm laughing because I have had those off the clock, whether it's text or just at a bar with a friend, like, we gotta bully them nerds again. Like, there's like that kind of thing. And this, I want to be in this era where we could have these kind of honest kind of admissions and conversations as we work through them. But I also think you're right. It's about this messaging, the walls weird stuff. And look, we're talking memes going back to 95. For maybe my generation, part of that, the meme culture existed, but it was not gonna that. Wasn't be present at this junk. That was our Bush. And it was able to, whether Dana Carvey meant to or not, it boiled Herbert Walker Bush down to 3 sentences that he may or may not have said, but that became our fact. Or even in the 2000s, into this meme era, lockbox, Al Gore, got to put a lock, like that became the truth. So when you use it with the swinging power of a bat like you want to, it's effective, unfortunately.
It's true, and of course, for clarity's sake, everybody knows bullying does suck. You shouldn't bully people in school. You shouldn't bully people at work. However,
it's destructive. It's destructive beyond belief. Yes,
there is, though, that like who I don't want to say like who is fair game, but it really does come down to that. Like public servants, especially politicians, it's like that is a part of the social contract. Like we way worse they used to just get fought. Like we used to have duels. We used to just like punch people. So it's just like
I think 898 Forever said, "Hey, tar and feathering was just 17th century cyberbullying."
Exactly.
Oh, what a conversation today. And Cam Stewart says we're bullying Tesla right now. I don't disagree with that. In the spirit of this conversation, we
are bullying him. I mean, Elon Musk's daughter. Vivian, I forget her last name. I apologize to her, but she just did her Teen Vogue interview where she called her dad like a pathetic man-child, and it's like, like there's a level of like bullying back. I love Jared from Nerd Academy says, "Don't call it bullying. I call it military-grade public shaming," which to me is just like the modern Padme, right? Like I call it aggressive negotiations. Like that's exactly what that is. There is a certain level of like you are beyond the pale, and therefore you must be torn back down by the people. And if we're not going to be guillotining you, then it's like then we should just get to make fun of you because you are in power. And that, of course, is like then we end up in comedy theory, right? Of like what is the purpose? Are you comedians the bards? Are you the philosophers of your time? Like what is your purpose?
We're not that. We're none of that, but we're everything. It's so it's interesting too. Yeah. No, you're really boiling it down to some funny, horrific key points here. But yeah, that's what we're doing to JD with these photos.
JMB. That's what I'm learning is that bullying works. You need to create in groups and out groups. Hey, the out groups. The in group is non-Nazis and the out group is Nazis. That's
Yeah,
it.
no, look at and there's a little bit of this idea of I'm not even going to break down the political parties, but there's a certain type of common
Yeah,
sense based, enlightened kind of general in a general sense, enlightened human that knows bullying's bad and therefore wants to lead with empathy, and the other side doesn't, and that side's messaging gets out quicker, faster, more
and it gets out.
effectively.
It
It's
is, yeah,
scary. It's
always with like
unfortunate.
the sensationalism and the thunder of it, and yeah, I mean
Mm.
there has to be a level, I think, of being able to take the piss out of people that hurt people, because it's like comedy is a weapon against fascism. It's in particular,
Yeah,
like
art is.
like
Yeah.
any jerk or asshole, whatever, but specifically the fear mongering power grabbers, the people that are
Hmm.
trying to like
Hmm.
solidify the culture, that want you to obey in advance, and all the things that many of the things we're actually witnessing right now, the obeying in advance and just acquiescing to every demand, giving up
Hmm.
on your fights because you're afraid for your safety, whatever it is. They can't fear monger their way around being made fun of.
Hmm.
And like you said, beyond even party lines, like this is just like about a power dynamics thing. Like
Yeah.
I think I was in favor of the way that Dana Carvey is actually a veteran exactly of what we're talking about.
A veteran of the meme
Specifically,
wars.
veteran of the meme wars, one of the early generals, honestly, because he just now
Yeah.
with his portrayal of Biden in this most recent SNL run, like he
Yeah.
like looked straight up played him like a dementia patient. Like it was
Yeah.
really, really
Yeah.
harsh. Like he
Yeah.
was just going in on him. And like
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm for that because he's a part of the power dynamic. And it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Like Mike Myers.
something that the only language that we have in
Hmm.
a lot of
Hmm.
ways. So how do you feel about the way that it's playing right now? What have you sort of like caught wind of? What's been making you laugh? Obviously, JD is our thumbnail, and that has been particularly funny because of the variations.
It's that one is working for me in the sense of because I just despise him. Like you know what I mean when I say this. I kind of despise people like him and Mike Johnson and Josh Hawley and Bo Bird and Madge more than Trump, if that makes sense. I say that in the spirit of this conversation. Burn them
Yes.
all, but like, you know what I mean? Like, and him on that little couch yelling at this wartime president, and make say thank you. Like it was a perfect reaction. Was the explosion of those memes, and it made a lot of people I know who cover this every day. For my friend Elliot over at Internet Today, he and Ricky, like he was posting on Blue Sky, just dying laughing at this stuff because it was the bullying offense was oddly cathartic, and it could get to them. This does find its way to them, just like a Saturday Night Live sketch does, just like Trump stays up late watching the late night shows and forming an enemies list, which is dangerous and something we probably should be concerned of. But like, and are here in this audience, but you know what I mean? Like, so that's the one that's just making, sending me, if you will, Alden. Sending me.
Good use of sending me. Love that.
Mhm.
One thing I love about the JD thing in particular is, and again, sometimes memes become like iterative, right? They spin off
Mhm.
into
Mhm.
conversations that become
Right.
like you'll have a meme, and then you'll have a viral post about the meme, and then what that viral post said becomes a thought that we all share, and like it becomes this building and building and building. And the JD one created this observation that I loved, which was that like in a couple 1,000 years, like future anthropologists will not actually be able to confirm what Vice President Vance actually looked like. And I love that. Like I love the thought of like some guy hundreds of years from now being like, was he a giant baby? Like
Well,
what was
yeah, yeah.
what
Well,
is, no one
I've had
knows.
this conversation with some folks off air a lot of times in the last couple of weeks. Gosh, yeah, a few times for different people of like, people in 100 years from now, if they're still around and they're digging through our past, they're gonna be like, what? There's no buildings we built. There's nothing. There's just thumb drives with information. What are these things? We don't know what to do with these. Did we exist? Will this time period exist? Everything's digital. It's not the past like it was. So fascinating. This will be our legacy. There's
No,
just a lot of
absolutely.
pictures of a former politician with a really round head.
Yeah, instead of hieroglyphics, it's just going to be stuff like that. It's going to be
Yeah.
they're gonna think that we worship these people as gods, or they're gonna think that
Hmm.
these were
Hmm.
our angels and our demons. And I love when the memes get extremely specific like that. Like I didn't take any of my personal meme collection off of my phone and put them in here just because that would have taken too long to decide of what there is. But like my meme collection is extremely specific, as a lot of my friends are. Like, I've got a meme of Thrawn where he just has his hands put together like this that I love using for any situation where I'm thinking. Like, there's like little things like that are particular. I sent you one yesterday. We don't need to get into the context, but it is an image of Shadow the Hedgehog saying, "I just love Latinas, Sonic." And like, he has not something that he's actually said.
Why would she say that? Why would you? Now people are gonna be like, "What the hell are these two talking
about?"
Let
them think. Let them think. I'm Puerto Rican. You don't know. No one knows.
I'm trying to think. Like, where can I find like the last ones I would send? Like, does it pop up? Because I don't really. I've sent an Ultimate Warrior and a Jennifer Aniston. That's the last.
Wow, and isn't that just your essence? If we could boil those two things down and combine them.
And the Aniston one was not from the movie, but it was a reference to Leprechaun. So that's what that one was about.
It's a leprechaun. And it's like sometimes things are. There's a genre of meme that kind of cracks me up where it's like, it's not funny. It'll just be a celebrity just existing. So it's like Chappell Roan's new song, "The Giver," right? Is out.
Right.
Promoted it with all these different like photo shoots based around a profession, and she had one that was like a detective, and so it's just Chappell Roan with a police badge, and like something about that to me is so funny because it's
that's
like
a meme. There,
you could just send that to a friend when they're out of line, like that.
Yeah,
there are things that you avoid the work of having to come up with a sentence.
It is an art form, and I think that's one of the things. Like when it started to emerge early on, where you could text those kind of things easily, or somewhat easily. Like I wasn't partaking, but it does. It is effective. It's fascinating that we have boiled down communication to that, and I'm fascinated by that. Whether I fully agree with it or not, I think that's a great thing, and maybe we should use 3-syllable words instead of one meme. But like it's effective and it works, and it makes me laugh and entertains us, and it helps us process.
And it's like. This, having been a broadcaster for so long, sometimes the memes become sort of like inside jokes that become part of like the parlance. Like over on Force Center, you three are very aware of what people know you say often. And you'll make like, self-deprecating jokes about it. Like, Ken always says this, or Joseph will say this, or Jennifer, loves this.
The Force Center bingo charts are pretty funny.
Exactly. Things like that. And like, that is meme culture for Force Center fans. And it's like, is Force Center, are Force Center fans like large enough to be like a culture in and of themselves? I don't know who decides that, but like of the thousands of them that there are, and of the millions of downloads, there has been a history. There you can track like Ken in this era used to talk like this, and now Ken in this era talks like this. And it's like, and that is exactly what we're talking about, and it happens. It happens throughout. I mean, this having just been on the internet for 15, 16 years now.
Part of the old internet. Do you feel? Have you had moments where you felt disconnected, where you have to look it up and figure it out? Like I go to the Urban Dictionary a lot.
Urban Dictionary, I've done sometimes. Yeah, I have to know your meme thing sometimes, which is a great website.
Yeah, and I think I think that's a good thing. I think it's easy to look at all this stuff as if you're as the older you get, it's like music or MTV, which barely exists now. You disconnect. SNL cast, you disconnect from it, and that's just kind of natural. But I think someone like me who values being a little bit having a better understanding of the world around me as it changes. Whether or not I want to go with it or not, like I'll look up a word, like what is that word going around, and I don't want to have shame on that in that, you know what I mean? Like I need to go to the Urban Dictionary or Know You Meme because I just want to know what people are talking about. That's how you learn how to refer to groups or something because there's been a cultural change, right? I think that's
like a recent example for me was like the very demure, very mindful, like because I'm not on TikTok. A lot of memes that generate there, I only find out about them in their, sequelized iterative form. So it's like I'm only getting the sixth take on whatever that is. I never saw that original video. So I had to go to Know Your Meme. Oh, it's this person. They were talking about this. This was the thing. This is how the sound started. and
Mm.
it's fascinating to see like the
Yeah.
way that those happen, and even with us, like just like in our friend group, like Cameron said, we are a subculture. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Like Eli was saying that like there are memes of me, and like yeah, there are Photoshop memes of me that like friends use and stuff, but like even just like the things that I say a lot, people start to catch on to them.
There's during the height of the Schmodown, you could go to like Giphy or whatever that is, and you would find a bunch of weird ones with me, and it was kind of fun. It was kind of one of those.
Oh,
like,
there are several Ken Knapsack gifs.
I can communicate with me.
Yeah. If you look up Ken Knapsack on Giphy or even on Blue Sky, all of your Schmodown gifs are there. Your GPA days gifs are there.
Really?
There's you eating a Twinkie on GPA. I'm pretty sure it's a Twinkie.
Oh yeah, that was a good Twinkie.
That's on there.
That's weird. I didn't know this. You're changing this. This is now. I feel like I got to be protective of my image here. What? What?
Your sultry photos are there, or maybe I just put them there. I don't know.
What? My feet? Oh, there's one in Spanish. God, there's too many of them. This is scary.
El Knapsack.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm not going to get lost on that.
Ken's like, I'm being perceived.
Yeah. I'm literally scrolling like, what are you using my face for? The Twinkie one. Let's just be honest. That Twinkie one's sexy. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did not know this today. I did not know this. I did not know this. Okay. That's scary. I was scared for a second.
Well, nothing too compromised. I think there's the one of you like arms outstretched when you were heel. Like just like cackling at people.
Yeah. I've seen that one. I don't.
Life is a work. Like the couple of those that come up.
There was one going around. It was me and Mark Donica doing like almost like the Predator handshake or the Macho Hogan handshake.
Where it's like kind of fake.
Mm-hmm,
good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. But this is what happens.
Well, use me, kids. Use me to fight fascism. Okay.
I would pay an exuberant amount of money, not that I have an exuberant amount of money, but if I did, I would pay it to watch Ken Knapsack versus JD Vance in any format, a meme off, a cage match, anything. I'll take anything.
Kill him.
I will take absolutely anything.
He's a tiny little puff. I'm a rabid dog.
Yeah.
I'm a rabid dog.
Yeah.
I just when I would get in street fights at work, I go for the legs, the ankles, and I just try to smother you. Yeah, let's do it. We'll do it on a couch. He'll be distracted.
Exactly. He'll be busy. You can get him during the refractory period when he's at his weakest, That might be one of the grosser jokes that have been made, and it still had a multi-syllable word in it. Refractory. Ken's got that Zoc in him. That's true. He does.
That's right. Team Zoc, everybody.
That's the other thing is that that's actually great, Maddie, that you brought that up, because the format of like got that dog in them, those are things that like they become actually part of the language and of the literal language. So it's like, when I was in high school, it was very popular to say lit. Lit was the word. Yeah. So it's like, oh, we're going to that party, it's gonna be lit. And that was that really took over. There was a short period before that where the word was live. Oh man, did you go to Jason's house Friday? Shit was live. Like maybe that was just Miami people, but like lit took over big time, and that was the thing. And that was sort of our sick, rad.
I do love regional wordage like that. Is that even the right way to describe it? Yeah. I think we all learned hella from NorCal thanks to like Gwen Stefani songs or something. I remember them.
And so that takes over, and phrasing that comes into it. I think that lately, like got that dog in them is a great example of something that I've taken to saying. Or what are people put in the comments? What comments? I'm gonna need you guys to do some work.
Wiccan. I mean,
what were some things that?
I mean, I grew up with Rad. I mean, come on, Rad was legit, man. Rad.
I still like Rad.
Dude, that's
Rad.
Yeah.
I still use Rad.
A lot of other things we said during that time. I'm glad we maybe don't say anymore.
No, there were some that need to stay buried for sure.
Yep.
Rad is good. You know what I miss that is like. This might even be beyond the memes conversation, but like I miss using bad as good. You know, and like sometimes it could be just for like a little, it could be objectifying, and like we don't want to do that. But you see you know, an attractive woman, like, oh, she's so bad. Like some people still do that, but like
I don't recall that one.
oh yeah, for sure, yeah,
okay.
for sure.
I think I'm still saying rad, but
you're probably still saying rad. But like, did you ever see The Wizard, the Nintendo movie?
No, I thought you were. Oh, I've seen The Wiz, but okay.
Coming soon to Criterion Collection, everybody. The Wiz. The movie The Wizard was basically a glorified Nintendo commercial as a narrative, and we do still say sweet. And
I say sweet. Grace makes fun of me all the time because like I really try to be affable and nice to anyone that's like in the service industry or something. So a lot of times, there's one time I had a prepaid parking ticket to get out of a parking structure, and I went to put it in, and the gate opened, and there was like an attendant there, and she's like, "You're good," and I wwent, "Oh, sweet," and like Grace still makes fun of me for saying that.
Did you say it like that?
I did. No, I did. I was like, "Oh, sweet, thank you." And Grace was like,
golly gee, miss.
You knew the gate was going to open. You paid for it already." Like, it was like, I'm just trying to make her feel good.
Ken's like, I appreciate automated technology. Like,
she's having it's probably the fourth hour in her shift. She wants to go home, and she provided joy, and I wanted to share it. But I use sweet all the time.
The Wiz mentioned from Ken. That's Eli's favorite movie. On Fleek was a big one.
On Fleek. I never fully understood it.
So in The Wiz, this kid gets the Nintendo Power Glove, and he says famously, "I love the Power Glove. It's so bad." And like we used to say bad like that, man. That was the shit. That was it.
Got it.
On Fleek and On Point are kind of the same thing. You know, On Fleek, I think old timers would call that top notch.
Top notch there. All right,
top notch.
All right, governor. Okay.
I still say dope for sure. Brian Tiller brings up dope. I say dope.
Yeah, but Brian Tiller's an old skater boy. He was a skater boy. Said, "See you later, boy." So rad and dope. I wouldn't want him not to say those things. Like Brian Tiller's like he's skateboarded with Tony Hawk, I believe is the story.
Oh wow.
Brian, I'm not wrong about that. I remember. Yeah.
Tony Hawk, current grandfather of white royalty, because his grandchild is a Hawk and a Cobain.
Craziness.
That's the closest thing that white people have to like a messiah. That's like an actual Paul Atreides figure. Is the grandchild of Kurt Cobain and Tony Hawk. It's fucking wild.
The music from the northwest will come forth and mix with the skateboarder from the south. And on the fourth day, their spawn shall rule the world.
I welcome the young Hawk Cobain to save us from everything that's happening right now.
Yeah.
Steve says, when you throw a paper ball in the trash, do the kids say Steph or Bron? We said MJ or Larry. Actually, Steve, I was in the middle. My generation would yell Kobe when you made a shot from across the room into the trash can. You go Kobe, and it would go in. That was always makes the classroom pop.
Never participated in that one. Okay, I didn't know that.
I don't know if the kids now say Steph or Bron though. I can't speak to the current kids. Look at her, Kobe.
Everyone's saying Kobe.
They're Kobe.
So weird.
Yeah,
I get it. We would just, if you made it, we'd go, ooh. That's all we'd do. Ooh, it was the 90s.
You wouldn't say like little Ken would yell like, "Great shot, kid! Let's blow this thing. Go home." And then he
no. Star Wars quotes were very insular. Like you didn't say them out in the public. This is why I'm always laughing when like "It's a Trap" became this thing. I'm like, we didn't say that.
And what's funny is that like because look, this is not not a Star Wars show, but it's inevitable. Let's touch on prequel memes for a second. Let's touch on prequel memes because that above all the iterations of pop culture specific ones, prequel memes have been a part of the. You know what I mean when I say redemption. Those movies did not need to be redeemed, etc., etc. Caveats. But of the bringing them into the cultural discussion in a modern way, using like this is where the fun begins, or like I hate it when he does that, or the Padme and Anakin at the picnic, that 4-panel.
Yeah. You're right.
Those movies,
Jesus Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Jesus Obi-Wan, exactly. Like now there are two of them. Like like bringing all of those things in gave people in good faith. I mean, there's a lot of people that sort of stop on the surface of them and just think the movies are memes. But like in doing that, it gave people a second look, I think, at a lot of the scenes.
It works all the time. That works a lot in pop culture, I think. When things become, I'll say memes, but just become things, you start to appreciate. You spend more time with them. That was Spice Girls with me. I used to make fun of Spice Girls. I made fun of them so much and started buying merchandise, ironically, that I became a fan. Thank God I did.
Yeah. David Mackay says a reclamation rather than a redemption. Yes, that's a great word. Reclamation for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jared has a casually question. I'll hit that before the end so that we had that, Jared. Spice up your life. A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. Yeah. And so in all this, I'm curious, everybody, as we're starting to wind down from the main topic, everybody in the comments, put your favorite recent meme or quote or anything that has been helping you get through specifically these dark times. What are the 2024, 2025, like, whether it's anti-JD Vance, whether it's anti-Tesla, whatever it is, what is the thing? I mean, like Tesla stuff, and them having a meltdown over that, and now all Tesla protesters are terrorists, and today he's
right, domestic terrorists,
El Salvador and everything, not people butchering children in schools, not that, specifically these people. Tesla stuff getting made fun of, it's like, it just really speaks to the fragility of like the modern right in a lot of ways, because making fun of corporations and CEOs has like been a thing. Like I grew up in a time where it was a fucking known fact that like Bill Gates and the Microsoft dweebs dancing on stage was funny. And like
that is funny.
And like we made fun of them because they were corporate dweebs. And like now if you make fun of a corporate dweeb that's doing the same shit, it's culture war, it's terrorism, I love your version of Bill Gates dancing, by the way.
Well, that's the other guy in the white polo that I'm doing, and Bill Gates is in the back doing this.
Oh, that's right. He's doing the little clap, the awkward clap. Developers.
I've watched that. I have watched that on a loop before.
That's culture, man. That's phenomenal.
It's just because I have declared a war on polo shirts, where I'm like, no man should be in a polo shirt, and that's just polo shirt bonanza there. It's
Would you like to explain that take?
They're horrible. Just stop it. Because I wore the same one for like 15 years, and grace to her credit, did not come into my life and say change that. I just knew I had to keep up a little bit. And I'm not a fashion plate. This isn't fashion plate, but I got rid of all but one of my polo shirts that I just have in case I go golfing and I need a collared shirt. Ditch your polo shirts. Every man out there, they age you up by 10 years and not in a good way.
I love that you, as a grown-ass man with like an adult life, went through the same arc that I went through as like a middle schooler. Not to say that you were late to it or I was early to it, but just like that it was happening around the same time, because you were like, Grace did not make me change, for the record. It's yeah, but I've been down that road. You get one taste of a cool alternative person and you immediately are like, I gotta up my game.
You have to.
I gotta hit the hot topic.
You have to, because she's red carpet ready, and here I am in baggy puffy blue jeans, and style of jeans changed and everything like that. But I looked like I always joked I looked like an off-duty FBI agent taking his kids to soccer practice because it's his weekend. Like that was what my aesthetic was.
With the divorce implication right at the end.
Yeah. And that's not, don't do that. And that Microsoft thing, I look at that all the time and be like, see, don't do any of this.
No, that's for sure. You just cannot. And that's the thing, is that like, and this ties in with like the making fun of them. It's like, this is going to sound like it's not connected, but it is, I promise. Right. So in typical Alden Diaz fashion, a couple weeks ago, I was texting one of my old English teachers, because we stay in touch, because of course we do.
Yes.
And her name is Sarah Phelps. Shout out Sarah Phelps. So she taught AP English literature, and we were talking about how, or not just English literature, but all literature. But I think her degree is in English, regardless. And we were talking about The Handmaid's Tale, a book that she taught and right now is not teaching, curiously, right? And she was like, we were talking about how our generation grew up on so much dystopian fiction, whether that was, the Hunger Games or like any of these franchises with all these like shadowy agents and everything. And I told her, I was like, I got to say, I'm a little disappointed because you gave us these classics with these like shadowy evil people, and then modern stuff was using all of these like cunning villains with like their glasses of wine and their incredible houses and like their high society parties and all this stuff. And I thought that we were going to have, to quote Heath Ledger's Joker, a better class of criminal. And it's like, and that's part of the memification, is that like, they're fucking losers. It's like, and I'm not saying that I'm cool. Like right now, as I sit here, I'm wearing lounge pants with a floral print on them. It's like, I got flip flops on.
Baby.
Like
you're home, baby.
I'm home.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not the most stylish guy. I wear mostly black, and like it's very simple. But like,
that's a simple pathway to fashion.
With 0.0000001% of Elon Musk's money, I am an infinitely cooler person than him. So are you. So is everybody watching right now. And it's like, why, with the resources, are you so fucking pathetic? Why do you make it so easy? If I had Elon Musk's money, you couldn't tell me shit. I would be so swagged out. I would have somebody, even if I was awkward and didn't know how to stand, I would pay someone to help me know how to stand. Like, it's like, what are you doing?
We all just want to be loved. That's what drives the entire world. And we all find it in some way. We all just want to be accepted for who we are, and we all deserve to be accepted for who we are. And a lot of times we are the ones standing in the way of becoming who we are born to be. I'm looking at you, J.D. Vance. Looking at you, Lindsey Graham. I'm looking at you, Josh Hawley and Mike Johnson. Be who you really are inside. And because there's either how you deal with the lack of it or how you seek it out. They make the world burn. They really do. They really do. True. Because they just want to be accepted and loved.
Because it's just like, like the level of rejection that has happened, it's like, it's insane. And they're lashing out. It's a tantrum. It really is a prolonged tantrum, because it's like, you can see the arc. Like the reason why Elon Musk is so memeable, Tesla, or just as a pathetic sack of shit of a man, like, is that you can track him describing what I'm talking about and failing, like getting his cameo in Iron Man 2, right? Like, canonically, Elon Musk exists in the Marvel universe and wants to pitch Tony Stark an idea for a hydro jet or whatever the fuck he says in the movie. So it's like, that was the closest that he'll ever be to tasting the person that he actually does want to be. Like, he would love to be real life Tony Stark. And even as recently as 2018, he got to visit the set of Mando season 1 and was like holding Paz Vizsla's blaster with Jon Favreau. Like, so it's like, that was right before the full descent. And I think that that pattern of rejection, and then also, being one of the most divorced men to ever live, like, it has created this monster. And he doesn't understand that, like, much like incels and everybody, like, just like being like lacking the ability to take rejection with any type of grace. It's like, if he had just like owned his L's and be like, yeah, that was kind of losery, wasn't it? People would have been like, yeah, we all do shit like that. And we would have moved on. We would have moved on. But it's the digging in that makes us want to make fun of you more. It's you and insisting that reality is not reality is stupid, and it makes us want to make fun of you. And it's not just like the famous and the powerful. Earlier I talked about power dynamics of like how it isn't party against power, but like power dynamics also present themselves in more intimate things, even like no-name people. Like this guy Bradley Bartell, who's been in the news. Bradley Bartell is the guy who voted for Trump, and his wife got detained by ICE, and he said that he does not regret his vote, right? So it's like, this is not a famous person, but he's part of the power dynamic of right now, of weaponizing these forces against people. And his own wife is getting detained, and he doesn't regret it. This is a prime example of somebody that should be made fun of until he dies. Like, I'm not saying he should die. Google
live
YouTube.
You want him to live a long, natural life. You're just saying from now to the end of his days. Yeah.
But he should be parodied forever. He should be. People should see him at IHOP and be like, "That's the guy who sold out his wife." Like,
Yeah.
he should be made fun of. And I think that is a fair social contract. We should bully those people.
Yeah, no, it's why the weird, they're just weird thing is so, was effective, I thought, and can be again. It can be again. There's some truth to that there. Yeah, Steve mentions that the parents with the kids with the meals. The underrated part of that story, they're still anti-vax. They're part of a Mennonite community. That's not being talked about a lot, I think, in that story too, of the religious implications of that. Yeah.
So, do you have any final thoughts about this stuff before I rattle off some last things?
Yeah, this has been. I love this. This is both fun and entertaining, and a walk back through our own histories here in the last 20 years, and also kind of where we're at. I don't. I think it's in this time we're in right now, where it can get overwhelming and depressing and sad every second. I think it's good to have these little tools in your shed to fight back, or just make yourself feel a little better. It's a good thing.
I agree. I think that again, it's essential. It keeps morale up, which like sounds really like company pizza party of me to say, but like genuinely, like if you can be like, this guy fucking sucks, and then everyone laughs, like that helps. Like Elon Musk saying, quote, I wrote it down, this level of violence is insane and deeply wrong about what's happening to Teslas around the country and different Tesla dealerships. And it's like, bitch, you're a Nazi. It's like you don't get to decide that. And we should all point, laugh, and continue exactly what we're doing. Like,
I agree. Yeah,
we don't need to take these people as seriously as they take themselves and what they're doing. And you can hold both thoughts simultaneously in your mind of like real action, time for adult shit, time for seriousness, but also these are not serious adults and they should not be treated as such. It's like both of those, I think, are part of the treatment plan.
Treatment plan. The doctor prescription. Yeah. I agree. All right.
So I think that's it for the main topic. As I have done occasionally before we wrap up, I wrote down some random notes in my iPhone.
Love it.
To throw your way that Ken has not been prepped for.
Oh, great. Love this.
Answer any questions or anything.
Fun game.
Now's the time. Everybody like the video, please. Let me put that in there. Like the video, everybody. Any super chat?
One thing I want to say too here, if you're listening on the audio version, which is currently on my own podcast feed, the Knapsack Network, we had an Anytime feed, made a move in good faith to a network run by a very well-meaning person. It just didn't work. There was no promotion behind it. So it's back on my feed, the Knapsack Network. So if you're an audio listener, it really helps. If you're doing super chats, we don't really ask for them. They're not built into the show. But now that we have the ability to, that goes directly to keeping this StreamYard account going, which helps this show, my show, Alden's shows. So once we get beyond that, Alden and I will do mounds of coke on our Porsches with all the internet money we're going to get. But for right now, you really directly help keep the show going with that kind of support. We appreciate you.
For sure. And bear in mind, I'm in Florida and Ken's in California. And so that's going to be top dollar coke. So it's like we really need to.
Oh, yeah.
There's not going to be like no Midwesterner. Like, no.
Yeah. None of that Canada fentanyl.
Yeah, no, exactly. All 40 pounds that we have to start a trade war over. So the first thing I wrote down, and what I write down and what I say are not always the same because these are just to remind me. What I wrote is just stupid walk. And what I mean by that is twofold. One, do you think you have a stupid walk? And two, when you think of somebody with a stupid walk, what do you visualize? I think there are cool walks for sure.
Yeah. Immediately go to Cleese and Monty Python. That's when you think of silly walks. That's what I go to in my generation.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't think I had any distinct walk until in like the early 2000s. I'd run into an old work buddy, and we were like far apart from each other at like a mall or something. And we had worked security together, so we'd seen each other patrol together. And he's like, "Oh my God, Ken! Oh my God! I knew I recognized that walk anywhere." And I remember, I was like, "James!" Back in my head, I was like, "The fuck did he just say?" Like, what is he? My walk? And then I have a waddle, and the reason it's scary, Alden. I watched my grandfather shuffle around his house the final 3-4 years of his life, and then I see my dad shuffle around, and then when I go in the backyard to take the dog out, I see my shadow. It's the same shuffle. So Be warned, everybody. You are built a certain way. The wiring is there. So yes, I don't like my walk. I have this little weird penguin waddle.
You know, I don't know if I walk the same as my dad because, well, life just be that way. But it would not surprise me if I did. Because that shit is true. Like the whole like becoming your parents, like emotionally, psychologically, yeah, that's a much deeper conversation. But like,
Sure.
there are these little like informed behavioral things that do come up. Like sometimes I see like my sister and my mom,
Mm-hmm.
and just like the way they carry themselves, or the way they shrug, or the way they like it freaks me out sometimes. Like seeing sort of like those parallels. It's very strange.
Yeah, Alex says I walked my way right into his heart. That's so true. I was on the Bombad cast yesterday, Alden and Molly, and I shared the first picture that we ever took together, and then I shared the picture of Alex and I making out over a deep dish pizza. It was great.
Yeah, Ken, I was there.
Did you take the photo?
No, I was there last night with you, sharing these photos.
Well, I'm not talking. I'm talking to the audience.
I'm
not talking to you.
I was like, did he forget that we saw?
I'm talking to the audience. Were you weren't there at that dinner in Chicago because you weren't cool enough. You had a bad walk.
That's true though, and I wasn't cool enough. I was in Chicago alone, but that was when I met you, buddy.
Yeah, it was great.
Because when we became pals. The second note just says Heim. I think that's just there from me wanting to talk about the fact that Heim is back, which we did touch on, so we don't need to spend so much time on this. My question for you is, why is it that you live in Burbank and you haven't secured me a place in the Alana social circle? What are you doing?
So I just because I applied for my dream job that I did not get, and it's at a radio station locally, and I was kind of I love the station and have for 15 years, but I was doing a deep dive on it in case I got brought in for an interview. And one of the top creatives there was like they were being asked in an interview, who's your like favorite in studio get, your dream get, and he was like, they're the Heim sisters, but they're very elusive. They're very hard, and they're Valley born and bred, and we're a Valley born and bred station. Like we'd love to, and they're just elusive. So I just don't know anyone in their circle, buddy. But I'm gonna try.
I believe you. I'm just asking for an update. It's single in 2025 is just something about it is more brutal than single in any of the last few years. Something about this one just. I think it's the slow march toward 30. I think if I'm not smooching on my 30th, that's gonna be a really bad.
But if you're gonna say smooching, you have to say it like Irving Kershner in Empire Dreams.
I couldn't have smooching. I couldn't. Do you know that you have a special relationship with fellow Star Wars fans when you can say specifically how an old man in a documentary said a word, and everybody knows what you're saying?
I couldn't have all this smooching. Yeah. Yeah. I feel you, buddy. I've been happy now and long term, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. But I've had those eras where there was good times to be alone, and there were times where it was tough, and it seemed like an albatross with no oasis on the horizon. So hang in there, get out, go join a bowling league. The problem it's harder is it isn't that you need to fall in love with everyone you meet at work, but we are in an era where there's less work stuff, right? And your view of your job now is not a positive one, and understandably. No. So it's a circle thing. And your circle, I've been thinking about this a lot because I was at a birthday party last night at a bar, stopping by, say hello, someone that I've worked with for years. And there was 3 or 4 people, not counting Grace or I, that was there that like I knew, or we worked together in the old internet the last 10 years. And 5-6 years ago, this isn't even a COVID thing, 5-6 years ago, there would have been 70 people there. And all of our circles are tinier. And all of our circles are virtual. I talk to you and Scotty and Jerry now. God bless me. I talk to you 3 more than I do people in town here. And you live in 3 different parts of the country. So for you to find love, it's going to be harder because your circles are smaller. I don't say that to make you depressed. I say that to say join a bowling league.
But you're right about that. And it's like people are like, "Oh, well, have you ever tried Hinge?" It's like, "Oh, I was supposed to try Hinge in Florida, so I can find a woman that wants to deport me." What kind of stupid fucking idea is that? It's like kind of stupid.
Yes.
What kind of?
I think you should.
Some fucking horse girl who doesn't believe, who's talking about vaccines. Like that's the worst possible place to do that.
I think what I think you should do is I think you should buy a bunch of polo shirts. I think you should wear a
Blue
trucker
jeans.
hat, and I think you use that. You know, you always make, "Hey, I'm Puerto Rican, but I can pass as white." You use that to your advantage, and then sneak in like a Trojan horse into these communities, and then unveil yourself one day. But it is I, Alden Diaz. You thought my name was Alden Denny, but it's Alden Diaz, and then
Alden
just
Denny.
expose them.
Genius plan.
Okay.
Last couple things I had written here in relation to the romance. What is the best Ken Knapsack date story that you can share?
That I could share. I mean, you want a successful one or the worst ones?
Just what's the best story?
The best story is Grace, because it wasn't a date. You know, I was kind of doing this, like, I like this person, I'm gonna like declare, because I was very shy around women, all this. So it's like a lot of any relationships came out of coworker or friendship situations, and those don't always go well. But this was that. And I was like, I'm going to make sure there's a dividing line. So I was like, let's do something. And we settled on Lord of the Rings trivia. And she did everything in her power to not make it a date. When I showed up at her house, and she was like dressed down and all this stuff, and it was just kind of like, we're friends. But then she beat me 2 rounds in Trivial Pursuit. I only answered one question, only had the chance to answer one question. I got it wrong. She then cleaned the board up, and then the next game started the first, and I never got a chance to answer. And they've been together 8 years ever since.
Damn.
So there's that. Then the flip side is I did, in the early mid 2000s, a friend of mine was like, "Hey, this friend of mine, she was thinking of doing stand up. She'd like to maybe, talk to you about it. She's an actor and everything." And so this is great. So we went to dinner. She saw a stand up show, and afterwards, I was like, "Hey, cool. Let me know if you need anything more." And she told her friend, she was like, "Yeah, that." Like, you didn't even kiss me goodnight. Like, it was just a weird date. And he told me that. I was like, we were on a date? Oh, I didn't know that. So that's kind of my dating stories up until Grace.
Love that. Absolutely love that. Yeah, the whole, like, is it a date, is it not? I think, as I know in my generation, the language of them has gotten looser and ends up in the confusing territory sometimes. I mean, like, we would all love to be incredible at reading each other's minds or at reading signals or subtext or whatever. But like, yeah, like my last like really long serious relationship did not start with a "would you like to go on a date?" It started with a cup of coffee and like and what you know. Then there's the understanding like, oh, this is romantic. But yeah, the whole like, can I pick you up? Would you like to go on a date? Would you like to go steady? Those declaratives are kind of gone, you know, like the labels, the early labels are kind of gone. And then like, we're also adults. So it's like, you know, girlfriend, boyfriend don't even get thrown around as much. And so it's like the,
that, no, and like
exclusivity.
To 8984M in chat saying, "Okay, hey, going on is this a date thing?" Like, I think, and I my whole life has been that, but like, I do think there's some value in declaring it, and maybe the lines are more clear, the expectations or the desires, or the, hey, I shouldn't cross this. Like, we're in a heightened situation of, and it's fun. I had a friend of mine who was really good at dating. Not good at relationships, but he was really good at planning, getting the car clean, this and that, and I was never good at that. And I think there's some strength in that, being like, this is the intention right here. I think it's good. It's clear.
Yeah. Jared says you should try dating as a polyamorous queer person. LOL. Yeah, man, I can't handle that, Jared. I can't handle it. Like, I know myself. I am such a fucking like lover boy to a fault that if you put me in any type of like system where there's like even one more person to be concerned with, I'll explode. Okay. I will explode. You know? But
here's the thing though, Jared's in a band, and as the band's profile starts to rise, Jared, you're gonna have to swat people away. Dating's gonna become so much easier for you. Yeah.
And then the last thing that I wanted to get your thoughts on, and then we'll get to these chats and get out of here, is, and this might be a my age group thing, but I'm going to you to give me the answer. And if anyone can hear my dog Mando having an anxiety attack, he does that sometimes. Mando does not. This dog does not growl. He's never growled. He rarely barks, but he makes this sound that is.
Hear it. That's great.
I never understood why you do that, little buddy.
Mando.
Anyway, you just sit right here. why is it that people, especially in our field, meaning digital media and everything, why is it that everybody has to promote their work in the most self-deprecating way? I don't even say this with a lot of malice. Like sometimes it's a person that annoys me and so it annoys me, but like even cool people, we feel the need, like, is it shame? Is it internalized shame that it's always this like all lowercase, like, hey, I did a thing, or
Because
here's the thing that I did, and it's like,
yeah,
what? Don't fucking be proud.
Yeah, but first of all, we're creatives. Most of us didn't get into this space because any creative space because we're well adjusted and have good self confidence and self awareness, or we have too much self awareness, I should say. It's also, especially in social media, I'm at a spot where I like, even with the state of the world, I'm like, no, I'm just going to say live at 5. Here's what the show's about. Come watch. Because I was the king of, I am the king of self deprecating, and I know I'm a piece of shit. I know. But I do this stupid little thing. Could you all maybe watch it? I've done that up until like this past year, because that's how we're built. But also, 10 years ago, things started to change rapidly. I was look at some of the situations, 2014, political and social situations and social upheavals, where that's where Twitter and everything kind of changed to where use your platform became more of a thing, and that was like early schmoes was in that era, and we didn't know what to do with that. And there were some growing pangs that some worked through and some didn't, where there's that balance of, hey, there's riots going on in St. Louis because a kid was shot and killed by police, but I also survive off this podcast. What do I do? And I think there was a period of time where it was really tone deaf, and it still can be tone deaf. But I think we also I think I'm at a point now where you all get the deal here. I do this show, which also provides either some entertainment, information, or just a healthy distraction from what's going on. So if there's a incident of mass proportions that breaks out the day, like I wouldn't have promoted this show today if there was a plane crash, right? I don't do, like, maybe I'll wait. But the general every day we're checking, it's horrible every day and every part of the world. But you still go to the grocery store and the person working has to show up to work. I still have to show up to work. So this is what I do. But it's also, going back to the emotion, it's just hard for us. And the people that are good at promoting, I say this with a little love and tenderness, are a little bit sociopathic. And that's what it takes with the algorithms and post 17 times a day and get 1 million followers, and suddenly you're doing stand-up shows. Sure. There's a disconnect they have that a lot of us don't have. Does that make any sense?
It does make sense, and I don't disagree with any of it. I guess I would just add, like, I don't even mean like, because like, look, neither of us are like internet famous, right? So it's just like, I mean, you kind of are, but like,
not anymore. Not anymore. I peaked in 2019. I was just talking about that with Emma last night. Emma Fife, like, Chicago 2019 was the, oh my God, I can't go 5 feet without people saying I love Jedi Council. To now I could walk around Star Wars Celebration Japan and probably not get noticed, if I was there. So
now you might be able to table and sell 8x10s of Jedi Council. And you can do you imagine that'll be the digital media con that happens years from now, where it's just like, you guys remember SJU? You guys remember SJU? They're over here. So
oh yeah, which one did you like? Did you like Drunk Movie Fights 1 or 2? Now come around here. Are gonna be like $40.
Be like, I just saw Ken Naps. I'm talking to Billy Business by the hot dogs. It's crazy. They still talk.
What's funny because Billy Biz started he worked for one of the con companies for a long time, and so he was around all these folks. And now I got to text Billy today. It'll be he and I going, we were the first and only TV fights fact checkers.
Incredible. Yeah, I love that. Hey, so to wrap that's so fucking funny. What a hilarious visual. The reunion panels gotta be so good. It's a TikToker from now hosting a reunion panel for you guys from then. But I guess my thought is, like, even outside of like the sociopathic people that are super great at this, I just mean, even if you're tiny, even if you're writing an article for like a standard, like a Nerdist or like whatever, like right. why, or even people with like their own art or their own novels will be like, hey guys, I have a thing out today, like NBD, and it's just like, it is a big deal. It is very BD.
We're getting better of it. We're getting better.
We should. I think it's like that we truly, maybe I'm projecting, but it's like I have a thing in my mind where I'm convinced that like nobody that I'm related to actually gives a fuck about this or anything that I like. I don't think they take us seriously.
It drives you because you just want to be loved, Alden.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but yes, but also it's like I think I love actor brain. I quote unquote actor brain. Like I talked on the show about like Adrian Brody's Oscar speech that was like an hour long. Fuck it, I would have taken 2 hours. I love actor brain. I love hearing people talk about the process. I love when people are like, "What I'm giving the world." That's why I love Jeremy Strong. It's like if you told me right now that Grace was camping in the backyard and wouldn't shower for a role, I would be like, "That's so cool." Like I would if she was method.
She is a great that she wouldn't do that. Yeah, she studies her scripts, breaks it down in a way that's impressive. Wouldn't do that
for sure. But even that, like I fucking love the people that are like, I poured my heart and soul into this. I would love it if you checked it out. That to me is like, and it's not, again, no one's wrong for the other approach. It's just I would love for that. I would love if somebody would let me be their Paul Heyman-esque figure and like hype their shit up. Like if you know what, that'll be my offer. If you're watching this for the low price of no, I'm kidding, for free. If you are like, I don't know how to put the sauce on this, I will help you because like I am offering that service for free. I really would love if all of you were just like a little bit more like just like dick swinging because you deserve it. You should.
No, look, but it's also why it's important. And I have periods of time where I'm good at this. Also I'm not interacting on social media much right now, phase for various reasons, but I'll pull out of that again. But like, it's helpful when people around you share things, the retweets and reposts and stuff. But like, it's a good thing to be like, hey, you know, like I'm forever grateful for the time and care that Alex and Molly Damon put into mentioning Force Center or giving us a platform. You know, and I hope it can return it to them where, you know, let me get you in on this thing. Let's build up together. It's a big thing. So your ideas, you being Paul Heyman, that works.
And that's true though. I mean, you and Joseph and Jennifer, Alex, Molly, Grace, even like all of you, when you guys didn't know who I was or anything, you know, like you guys made time to come on and everything. And then like whether I delivered was, you know, that's an opinion for you guys to form after the fact of whether or not you want to promote, you know, whoever you're working with. But like, what I think there is like a we're all in this together, like honor among thieves thing that I, you know,
because I know it's hard, man. I know it's hard. Like, that's why you hear on the blathering, it's like, you know, I got, you know, Jared's talking about his band, Concept of a Plan. He's a punk band he started. We kind of named it on the show. I got Laserbolt Videos, who shows up, who just after years of fighting finally reached 1,000 subs. He can start monetizing, and I love his stuff. And you know, Lauren Romo and the Galactic Broadcast, like you and Scotty and Jerry, like I'm not in a as powerful position as I used to be, but like we're all doing this, and it's hard, and it's hard to get the word out. And so help each other get the word out. So there you go. My name is Alden Denny, and I'm here to talk to you about the undisputed podcast champions.
Alden Denny being the just like slightly whiter iteration.
What would be your wrestling name? What would be your wrestling gimmick?
What would be my gimmick? Oh, I mean, I could tell you when I was a kid, I invented a finish that I would try to do on Friends or whatever, like on the trampoline, that was called the Diaz Dominator, which was essentially a vertical suplex lift that then flipped you down into essentially a rock bottom, which is just unnecessary. Like that's just putting a flip in there that you don't need, which is just, you know, it's classic.
The flippity flops. Yep, the flippity flops. I got it.
Adding a flip flop for no reason that just ends in that. But what my gimmick was, I don't know. But I remember doing like after high school, being in like wrestling Facebook groups, and we would do like promo offs for like gift cards and stuff. And I would always rip off Paul promos, you know, like He's one behind the one in 21 and 1. Like
he's the best.
So good.
He's the best, hands down, the best of all time because he does not move far from the territory rule. You are promoting next week's show. The money is next week. Let's get them. He's the best.
Draw me money.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best.
For sure. Jared says he's felt this move many times emotionally. Yes, because I am 7-0.
God bless you.
All right, so let's answer these and then we'll get out of here.
Cool. Let's do it.
We have from Steve, just as simple. Keep it up, fellas. You know, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. Producer Steve. We got some great stuff going on. Blathering with Producer Steve. We're doing some blather brackets for March Madness. Thank you, Steve.
Nice. Some of the best hair in the business on that, Steve.
That's great. And I met him in Chicago. I didn't even remember it. He was nice enough to politely remind me. Hey, you egomaniac, you met me in Chicago.
That's awesome. Look at that. JMB wants to know if look, they're trying to add to your schedule here. After DS9, would you watch The Next Generation? Right,
Here's the thing. I did watch The Next Generation.
Okay.
I think people forget that when they Jared the TIE Pilot forgets it when he hears my Star Trek conversation. I used to watch Next Generation regularly.
Okay.
I was a casual fan, but I watched it, so I don't need to.
All right. So Jared asks here, and I will say this is a Casually Talk question. Casually Talk, we can tentatively say after Star Wars Celebration Japan, we'll be coming back in a new, newish form. We've already talked about that. Alden, what is your favorite Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon named sword? Well, my friend, that one to me is very easy. My favorite named sword is Dark Sister. Originally from the Visenya, I want to say. I could be wrong about that. One of the sister wives, and found its way all the way to Daemon, and then found its way all the way to the Blood Raven, and it presumably currently rests beyond the wall. Maybe in the shelved Snow sequel we would have seen it. Who knows if that will ever happen? But I love Dark Sister. Would you have an answer for that one?
I bequeathed Dark Sister to Grace because he had asked me the question, like, which one would I give to Grace, which one I would take for myself, and then I went with Longclaw. I would say it's just one of those. Yeah, maybe it's a pedestrian answer, but Longclaw, the history of it, the use of it, love it. Love my Jorah, love my Jon, love my Mormonts.
That lets you have the best of sort of like both the Ken worlds of like little Bear Island, but also beyond the wall. You know, little, you know, hardy and strong. And then this one looks like it requires some sort of dramatic reading. What's happening?
Oh boy, LeBron. I don't know how to begin. Let me just say I'm not worthy of walking the same earth as you, breathing the same air.
Incredible.
Nice, baby. Okay.
Thank you, 8984M, for giving us that moment. And for all your generous super chats, spending hard-earned money on us as we literally talk about memes. You all just spent money after we talked about meme history. How does that make you feel?
Wonderful. Makes I appreciate this community around here. This is we've been doing the show for well over a year and a half now, right? And getting there, and it's changed. Our energies for it have changed. Our ability to do it has ebbed and flowed. We love sticking with you here. We love our Anytime community here.
I do. I love the Anytime folks because these are folks that I would trust. You know, like because like these are all nerds, right? And like. Sometimes nerds, you go into the comic book store and it's like you look at your fellow nerd and you're like, come on, guys.
Get rid of the polo shirts.
Get rid of the polo
shirts.
Stop staring at every woman that walks in here. She's just trying to read.
Act like you've been here before. That's mine. Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff, buddy. We'll talk about the Valnet stuff another day. I got nothing much to add to it. I saw a couple questions about that. Good stuff. We'll be back next week, I believe.
Indeed.
We'll see. All right. Anytime. That's Alden. I'm Ken. What's your favorite meme? Let us know in the comments below. Bye.